Yeah, welcome to the Aro Benaiah Show. Today I'm joined by Stoy Hall, CFP CEO and founder of Black Mammoth and host of No BS Wet podcast. Stoy is recognized by Investopedia and top 100 financial advisor and is known for redefining wealth beyond numbers, emphasizing inclusivity, emotional intelligence, and personal growth. Stoy, it's really an honor having you on the show.
Appreciate being here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, Stoy, what was it like growing up for you?
It was interesting, right? I'm born and raised from Omaha, Nebraska, Midwest, United States, and I came from a white mother with a black father who wasn't around. When she worked 12-hour shifts, I was always out with my friends and their families, and I've been raised by a lot of different cultures, which is really enlightening and cool for me, because I got to experience different things. But it was tough. Really only child. I have two step or half brothers, but it was only me and me getting raised by other people. And so I learned a lot of different things early on. My grandpa calls me an old soul because I was always more mature than my time because I had to be. But it was very enlightening to grow up that way. And I think it's made me a better person now that I'm an adult.
Wow, amazing. So, what was this earlier job you did before you start doing what you do?
So I really started what I do right out of college. I grew up, like I said, we just talked about that, but money was an issue. And it was an issue because we didn't really have much. And I know a lot of us listening can all reflect back to that. We don't have a lot of money. But I wanted to know why. I didn't understand why my family had money, but my friend's family had money, right? It didn't make sense to me. So I used my athletic ability to go play college football and then get my degree in finance so I could learn, well, why is that? And it was about 3 years into school when I was working at the Boys and Girls Club that I realized that the reason majority of us don't have money or the wealth that we want is not because of lack of effort. Sometimes it's lack of just ability. It has everything to do with our knowledge, both from our money mindset perspective, but also just lack of education when it comes to money. We don't know how the things
Yeah.
operate, and so the system can take advantage of us. And so, right out of school, right out of college, I interned at a financial firm in 2011, and then just haven't left it since. Over the course of the years, I've ran into what I wanted to develop, and in 2020, which is as of yesterday, I think 5 years of Black Mammoth being run. We have focused on the modern family office and bringing true, transparent conversations to money for people.
Wow, this is really amazing and inspiring. Thank you so much, Stoy. So, growing up with a hardworking single mother, what value did that instill in you?
Work ethic and ability to figure things out on your own, right? Like my mom wasn't there, so I taught myself how to cook from Emeril Lagasse growing up, watching him on the TV, right? Ability to just like self-manage because if she's not there, I need to make sure I'm taking care of myself. Doors are locked, right? I'm in by curfew, those types of situations. So it allowed me to live independently early on, pro or con, whoever wants to take that. But I took it as a way that I could take care of myself and do things that some people have never been alone. They've never had to deal with just themselves in life. And I was kind of forced into that somewhat early on.
Wow, that is pretty hectic, and at that such tender age, it's really amazing. So, you once dreamed of becoming an NFL players and even Navy SEAL. What did those ambitions teach you about discipline and resilience?
So the most about it that I've learned from both those, obviously I played collegiate football, so I was further on that path than the Navy SEAL path, was the ability to embrace the suck of whatever you're doing and keep grinding through a process, right? Those two things in life, in our life journeys, matter and are the foundation of who we are, right? Because in life, it's not easy and it's not hard all the time. There's ups and downs, but you have to keep grinding every day and take that step forward. And so those two, through my studies or playing collegiately, that's what was instilled into me of like there is a plan, there is a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. You just have to keep chopping at it as you go.
Wow, keep chopping at it as it goes. That's lovely. And how did your time at Drake University influence your mindset and about leadership and service?
So I was always, like I said, Boys and Girls Club, right? Always involved there as much as we can. Drake University is a huge international school. Not a lot of people know that, but we have a lot of foreign exchange students. And so being able to learn different cultures was always kind of fun for me, right? My culture's been an amoeba of things. Like I've just learned, and I love food. And everyone that knows me knows I love food. And guess what? All cultures have food, and we all can communicate via food. And so it was always really nice for me to be able to sit down with people over whatever meal we're having and learn about them. And then it came to fruition when in 2011, the football team and we traveled to Tanzania for 2 weeks. We climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, we helped build an orphanage, and we played a football game there. And when I arrived, it really did feel like home, right? Like this is my people. But what I also learned as specifically in Tanzania, those people are the most wealthy people I know. And I mean that because it's not about the money, it's about they love life. They were enjoying things. They loved us being around. The kids were out having fun. Like it was an atmosphere that I think we all should live in, and that's community. And that is being happy with what you have and not always worrying about the things that you don't have. And in America, that's all we ever think about is like, I want more. I want more money. I want something bigger about, you know what I mean? And we just have to be cool with where we're at.
Wow, this is really, really amazing. The fact that you make reference of Tanzania and they love life, and there's a whole lot of beautiful things to grab in there, and they were living peacefully. They even welcome you guys with an open hands, which is quite very lovely. Like, what personal financial mistake did you make earlier in your career that still guide you in reaching out to others today?
Yeah, there's two big ones that I've made in my life. First one was I was in college and I got my first credit card and I was like, "Ooh, hey, let's go buy a nice TV." By the way, I still have that TV to this day, but racked up a whole bunch of bills on the credit card and then didn't plan for the fact that when I'm playing football, I don't have time to really work, and so I didn't have time to really pay off those bills, and it hurt my credit score. I think my credit score went down to like 480 by the time I graduated, which hurts your ability to get loans, hurts your ability to rent, hurts everything, right? And so that was my one first mistake that I said obviously never do again. The second one came in about 2023, 22, where I partnered with someone that I trusted and come to find out that he was very narcissistic, didn't have the same thoughts that I do, and that is people matter more than money,
Yeah.
right? And he cared more about money than people. And when that happened, I had to break free from it. But I ended up losing $86,000 in an investment. And to buy him out, I had to pay over $80,000 too. And that all hit at the same year. And so those were my two biggest mistakes. And what I've learned from those is one, credit, learn how to use it correctly. Two, you really need to vet out and have opportunities to get out of situations when you partner with people because money changes people, success changes people, and the opposite happens too. When things negatively happen, it also changes people. So you got to be very clear with who you're working with and how to get out of a situation.
Wow, this is really profound. Uh, Despite you are just sharing your stories, it's just more like I'm just learning a whole lot from it. Owing to when it comes to choosing partner, you have to kind of vet those particular facts so that at the end of the day, you won't fall victim of what you didn't plan out, being that money changes people, and at the end of the day, things could go south after the initial plan. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that experience. So, how did you see the lack of financial literacy holding people back, especially minority women and small business owners?
Financial illiteracy or lack of education is a worldwide problem. It truly is a worldwide problem. And whether it's by design, if I put my tinfoil hat on, right, the conspiracies that happen, but in order for someone or a government, a body to control a population, they have to control their ability to learn and do things independently. Money in itself causes independence from a system of any kind. And so what happens is the lower income of any country, of anybody, will get less resources in terms of education, less ability to actually use the tools that make the rich more richer, right? In order to drive them just to do bare minimum and work. And so, with that philosophy, if you look around everywhere, we have, in America at least, we have a giant upper class, right? For all the money is, a dwindling middle class, and a really, really, really
Yeah.
big lower class. And it all comes down to, in my opinion, the fact that we are not educated correctly when it comes to our money and how to achieve our own financial freedom, our own wealth that isn't tied to working for someone for crumbs on the dollar, right?
Yeah.
And as we all know, we've seen it a lot is housing prices keep increasing, inflation, food costs, all of that keep increasing, but our salaries don't. And again, you have to ask yourself, well, why won't they pay us more? Well, it's because they need to keep us controlled in the where they
Mm.
want us. And so, conspiracies hat off, we need to be educated in all the tools that even the ultra wealthy use because we can still use some of those. But if you don't know and you're afraid to have those conversations, then you're just part of that cycle over and over again.
Wow, this is really amazing. I think this just reminded me of a particular discussion I was having with a friend of mine the other day. That some key element when it comes to life is not being taught in school, is not being taught in various institutions. Like financial literacy should be more of one of the key subjects they should draw into each and every student compared to the physics, the maths, and the English, which at the end of the day wouldn't count once you are going through a lot of physics of financial crisis and every other stuff. Yeah, it really boils down to financial literacy and relationship. Those are the two things most times that life rise and falls on, and just hearing you make reference of it again just shows that these are the tools they actually use uh yeah, to widen the gap between the rich and the poor most times, and we need to get educated from it, and so that at the end of the day we won't fall victim. And I'm
Absolutely.
glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. So in your work, how do you blend financial planning with emotional intelligence?
They're one and the same. I think growing up for, I guess, what am I, 36 now? I don't even know how old I am. Yeah, I'm 36. For like majority of my life, 30 years or so, industry, media, everyone has always driven you the fact that your money and your emotions should be separate, right? You should make business decisions and don't let your emotions get involved with whatever your financial decisions are. We're coming up now in the last few years. If you look around, there's a lot of behavioral therapists, a lot of financial therapists coming
Yeah,
out with the fact that, and I included in this, we are humans. We are emotional human beings.
yeah.
Emotions is what drives every decision we make. So how can we try to force ourselves to separate money and our emotions when it's not in tune with in how we are wired? The thing is, no matter how much you try to separate it, it's going to be involved. And so you need to combine those conversations. And it starts with, and this is the first question we ask any client that wants to work with us is, what's your first money memory?
Mm.
And they'll think about it. And it's always something when they were a kid, right? And it's always something there. Well, guess what? Your entire adult life is based upon what you learned financially in that memory. And if you haven't grown and developed, that's where your emotional being is. And if we're children, guess what? We're emotional, right?
Yeah.
And so back to with money, back to when we were kids. We're adults now. I think it's time for us to grow up, but you have to understand who you are, what brings you joy, what experiences you have in life, and what experiences you want to have. Then base your decisions financially off of those, not off of the trauma or whatever you had when you were 5, 6, 10 years old.
Okay, yeah, I think just remembering that I read Rich Dad and Poor Dad just speak volume to this when it comes to experience, and the fact that growing up, if you grow up in a particular environment that speak volume to money does not grow on trees, or more like or more like view money as being demonic or something like that, at the end of the day you discover that you wouldn't get it much, being that owing to those particular tag you have actually get to peg it with owing to growing up, and you just make a reference of it. So what is one of the most financial myths that you wish more people stop believing when it comes to money?
Good question. Good question. Ooh, that's a good one. I would say the biggest myth that I wish people would get over and get through is debt is bad. Okay. Having debt, you need to be debt free. This whole debt free phenomenon doesn't make sense from really any aspect, in my opinion. Now, caveat there is good debt, there is bad debt. Right. Let's start
Yeah.
there. Heavy credit cards, bad debt. Payday loans, bad debt. But when you think about all the good debts that are out there, for example, the richest people in the world all have debt,
Yeah.
and they are probably leveraged 20 to 40%. They have debt. The problem is they don't call it debt, right? We call it leverage. I'm leveraging other humans, people,
Yeah.
right, to work for me. I'm leveraging banks or someone else's money to lend to me so I can go invest that money into an asset that brings me more money that can pay you, right?
Yeah.
That is leveraging and building true wealth. Well, the rest of us think of debt as bad and we try to work so hard to get debt free. Well, what are you doing? What are you missing? You're missing opportunities for growth in your assets. You're missing opportunities for growth in yourself because you are so focused on getting that debt down to zero. And by the time you get it down to zero, something happens and you got to go back into debt, right? And so the phenomenon of being debt free or the usage of debt is the one that I probably it will be the hill that I die on, that we all need to look at debt as leverage and how can I leverage
Yeah.
other people or other people's money in order to create more income or more assets for me so I can become more wealthy as we go.
Wow, wow, amazing. I think it's the fact that you view debt from the perspective of investment, not consumption. Consumption perspective is that of bad debt, while that of investment, and yeah, it's more of the good debt. Yeah, thank you so much for the clarity. So, can you share your stories of clients who redefine their ideas of weight after working with you?
Yeah. The first and foremost, every client that's come to me is not organized, right? That's the biggest problem. And everyone listening, no one is organized. There's not the most wealthy people on this earth still are disorganized because we don't all have it together. So I want to first start with that. So they come in disorganized, disheveled, not knowing up from down, left from right. As we work together, a lot of clients don't understand or find out, finally realize that when we're talking, I'm not talking about the numbers. We're not talking about ones and zeros and numbers. We rarely talk about that. What we do talk about is what matters to you. What do you want out of this life? What memories do you want to create with your loved ones, right? Why did you start your business? What's the purpose of it? We go through all of those conversations because at the end of the day, we are all people and we care about them and we
Yeah.
create more of this family dynamic. And that is the biggest takeaway I've had from my clients is that you just truly care. Like you're part of the family. And like, yes, because if I can get to that level, then I can do my job and make sure we get ahead of any financial situation come down the pipe. Any situation coming down the pipe we're not prepared for. And then I can truly align what to do with those dollars. A lot of us right now have no clue who we are, no clue what we want to accomplish in life. No, we just only know that we want to make a lot of money. Well, that's cool. But what do you do with it? Where's it
Yeah.
supposed to go? How do you prepare for that? Right? I just quoted this earlier today. Someone had tweeted about something. I said, "Mo money, mo problems." Right? It's the truth. The more money you have, the more problems, complexity you have. If you don't have the plan set in place and your emotions aligned with what you want to do, you're going to get more zeros and there's going to be more issues, more problems, more debt, more, you name it, it's going to come out of the woodwork. So the biggest takeaway that my clients get is just the fact that they have someone who truly cares and knows them for them and doesn't just know them for the amount of dollars they have in their bank.
Wow, this is really, really amazing. Is the fact that you dig into their origin stories to know why they do what they do. Not just the cliche, I just want to make more money because money can only solve money problem at the end of the day. And and you need to get it right. What is the reason? What is the idea of why they want to make the money? And I think at the end of the day, that is going to speak volume on how to reinvest it when it actually come handy. Yeah, thank you so much. Um, Many entrepreneurs get caught up in grind. How do you help them balance business, family, and wealth building?
I think that's the big a misnomer too, maybe a myth, is this like work-life balance thing for business owners. Okay. I'm just going to speak about business owners right now. There's no such thing as work-life balance per se. Our work and our life are the same lifestyle. It's about creating the current lifestyle that you want, right? Because it's very, very hard for a business owner to just like disappear and never think about their business. It's not possible. Right? Now, can we build our business to operate without us so we don't have to push all the buttons? Yes, but it is part of your lifestyle. You are your business. You are
Yeah.
your life. And you need to recognize that there is no light switch on your business to shut it off. Your brain won't allow it because it is your baby. It is part of your family. And so I try to push my clients to intertwine it even more so, get their families involved, get everyone involved with the business as part of your lifestyle. But we are also building the business to operate without you. Because if I can build a business to operate without you, it's a true business, right? You
Yeah.
can go off family, you can do those things, and it will run fine without you. The problem is a lot of us run our business as if it is us and it is only us. And then we're stuck doing everything, right? And it's not a business anymore. You just have a job, a very, very difficult job. You're wearing all the hats. And so, for everyone listening, one, yes, you need to put it part of your whole lifestyle and include as many people as possible, but you need to build it so it's built without you running the day to day. So therefore you can enjoy the rest of it.
Wow. Amazing. That's tough. How do you think culture and identity influence the way people actually view it?
Yeah. I can't speak to all cultures, but I do know that there are a lot of cultures out there that view one money and work differently than others, right? For example, in America, we work 100,000 hours a week, it seems. In other countries, they actually get a longer lunch.
Yeah.
Maternity leave, paternity leave, healthcare paid for it, right? So the mentality is slightly different. What I've learned in working with different cultures in my own business and operations is that when you're a business owner, you get to create your own culture, right? You get to take the best of what cultures you want to provide and what how you want to run your life. Now, I didn't come from a background or historical family that is super culturally bound or super religious or has a huge history behind it for the last couple hundred years. So I'm not going to speak to that as much, but I will say
Mm.
in today's day and age with all of the, technology, the AI, the ability to do what we're doing right now from
Yeah.
different parts of the world, you get to create your own culture. You get to create your
Yeah.
own being. And you get to be with people that have that same philosophy around you. We are seeing people build different cultures and different families around the world and connecting via podcast, connecting via Discord
Yeah.
groups or Slack or you name it. That is something our families have never had
Yeah.
before. And I think that is truly special because you can create this family atmosphere, this culture atmosphere that might be different than your actually true family, right? And it might align to who you are even better.
Yeah.
Some people, the way I grew up is not how I raised my kids, right? So I'm not going to do what my family did. I'm going to try to improve it. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, we're all trying to just improve our lives for our kids' lives or the next generation's lives. And being able to do so across the world is one of the most powerful things that we in our generation are able to do that others are able to do.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Thor. So what practical step would you recommend for someone starting their wealthy journey from the scratch?
First homework assignment that we have everyone do, okay, is I want you to grab your bank account statements or credit card statements or whatever statements you have that tracks how much money you've been spending on things, right? I want you to get that report for the last 12 months if you can. And I want it printed. I want you to get a red highlighter and a green highlighter. I want you to go through each one of those transactions and highlight if it's red, you want you to highlight red if you look at it and go, that doesn't feel like it fits me, right? That was a waste of money, or I don't even remember what it was, or I don't even have that item anymore. Mark it red. I want you to then go through and mark everything green that when you look at it, it brings you joy, it brings a smile, it brings that experience. That memory comes back of
Yeah.
it, that green. Okay. Then I want you to total up all the reds and all the greens. Now, granted, there's going to be ones you don't highlight, and those are just going to be things that you have to live with. Like, yes, you need to pay for your utilities, you need
Yeah.
water, you need a place to live. Those are probably going to be not highlighted. I don't care about those. Highlight the greens, highlight the reds, total those numbers. Look at those numbers. If your red has more spent in it than your green, then you need to look through your green side and start to think about what truly matters to you. Okay. And
Wow.
that's why we call this a what truly matters worksheet, essentially.
Wow.
If your green is already ahead of your red, relook at your red and say, are there things more that I can add into my green? Okay. and just do that basic thing, and it'll uncover, one, that you're probably spending too much on items you don't care for. Two, it'll start to bring out emotions in you that
Yeah.
you recognize, oh, I actually care about this stuff. And then three, the third part, it will free up more of your cash to put into those green items that matter more to you. And then you can start this journey of becoming, whether it's financially free or at least organized enough to know where you're supposed to be on your wealth journey.
Wow, this is really amazing. It's really an homework, just the way you said it, because there's a whole lot of emotion attached to it when it comes to printing your credit card, printing your more like your expenses for the last 1 year. There's a whole lot that goes in because your eye will be wide open about some spendings you never thought you made until you get to kind of go through every single one of them and discover that, wow, I did spend for that. I never knew. And it really be a moment of realization of every expenses that have gone along the way. So you host the No BS Weight podcast. What is the most surprising insight you have learned from your conversation?
The most surprising, actually, it's like an overall theme. It's not like one central thing, but we have a collective now of about 31 amazing people. And I've been doing this podcast going on 5 years now, 4.5 years. And every guest I come on that I've vetted, now we do something a little different. I used to interview a new person every week, and I did that for 3.5, 4 years. Now we have 31 people that we go deeper with. But there's one common theme with every guest and every conversation if you listen to any of the podcast episodes. And that is, these people care more about people than money.
Hmm.
One. And two, the ultimate part of it is every one of the guests and the things that they provide are to better you and to better your loved ones around you.
Wow.
And that is it. That's simple as all of it is. And that's the common theme that I've had on every episode. And everyone listening, whether that's because I vetted them out this way, I have no idea. But if you are listening to any of our podcast episodes, you will get those two things, that they care more about people than money, and that they're designed in this conversations to provide you with something that you can take home for yourselves or for a loved one, and it'll change the trajectory of your life.
Wow, this is really amazing and inspiring. It's the fact that you get to vet most of those persons who come into being now, owing to you want to deliver beyond just the value, to see that, yeah, they care about people, and the fact that they produce something that actually leave others lifted up more, like in terms of the product. Yeah, it's really amazing. I'm definitely I'm going to buy to that particular structure too. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So, how did you personally define success today as a father, entrepreneur, and weight advisor?
It's tough. It's tough. I also struggle with them too, right? It's not easy. It's not easy to do all of these things, and it takes a lot of, energy to do so. But I find that if you align yourself with passionate things, it actually will provide energy for you, right? Everything's not rain. There are things in your life that actually will provide energy to you as you're doing them.
Yeah.
And some of that is watching my boys play sports or coaching them in football, or being able to just wrestle with them at home.
Wow.
It is seeing my clients be successful, although it takes a lot of work. When they do achieve something, it brings me energy back. Doing podcasts like this actually bring me more energy than the energy I give to them, because I'm providing something for people to listen to hopefully better than their lives, right? And so I think when people think about all the things that they got going on in life, you shouldn't think about all of them being energy suckers. You should really see how many are bringing energy back to me and balancing that with the energy that you have to give. And if you have a bunch of things, people in your life that you feel like you're giving all the energy to and you get nothing back, I think that's a pretty easy way to say, I don't need that in my life.
Amazing, amazing. I think your definition is very, very key, so that you get to know what is sapping your energy, so that at the end of the day, the give and take is there is not going to be inequality between them, so that at the end of the day, you still have much energy left, other than being left deficit every now and then. Yeah, thank you. So, if you could leave my listener with one principle to live by when it comes to money life, what will it be?
It's this one. Your life and your wealth journey are lifelong journeys. And so you need to recognize that this is a big picture situation. You're not going to get rich quick. You're also not going to die tomorrow per se either, hopefully, right? You need to work on things every day. stay healthy both mentally, physically, and financially as you go on this journey, and recognize that, hey, this is going to take my lifetime. This is my entire life. That way you don't look at someone else and go,
Yeah.
I wish I was like them. I want their life. You don't. You want your life. You just need to work on it every day. And yes, it takes time, and it's a hustle and it's a grind, but there are experts out there that are here to help you along. So you're not there alone. You're not doing it alone.
Yeah, amazing is the fact that you view weights and more as a life journey, not just more like a destination. It has to keep going on and on. It's a lifetime game, and being that we are still in here, we are still going to keep playing every now and then. Viewing it as more like a long term game, make it easier for us, kind of keep showing up and keep doing the work we do. And this is really amazing to see it from that particular end. So, how can my audience learn more from you, connect with you, and do business with you? What platform can they reach out to you?
Name the platform. We're everywhere. Go on social media. You can type in Stoy Hall, type in Black Mammoth, type in No BS Wealth. We're going to be there everywhere. I've got newsletters both for the podcast and my personal. Reach out. I am a huge proponent of having people reach out to me and have conversations. So either it's engaging on our stuff, whether it's following the podcast or emailing in or messaging on all of the apps, go ahead and do so. But we are legitimately everywhere except for Reddit. I got kicked off Reddit. Long story. But besides that one, like, you can reach out to me. I'm going to respond, and you will get a response, and we can have a good conversation, because everyone needs help. Everyone needs someone in their court. Whether you work directly with me or I connect you with someone else who's closer or more related, we can do that. Just make sure you're asking questions. That way we can help you.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Thor. Thank you for sharing your powerful journey and wisdom redefining words. For the listener who wants to dive deeper, you can grab his free ebook on building words at blackmammoth.com. The link is going to be on the show notes, and the link to how you can connect with him. This has been the Aro Benaiah Show. Until next time, keep building a worthy life, not just worthy accounts. Once again, it's really a pleasure having you on the show. So,
Yaro.
yeah, thank you.